Sorry guys for not uploading for a day. This is day 11 of reading one page, one reading every day for 10 minutes straight. So this is the day I need to study for an exam, but I am recording this video just to get it done. It's currently 4 p.m. in the evening. I have test on 16th at 2 p.m. So I need to get studying because I did not study it and I have failed the subject. So I need to put extra effort in it. And that's it, I guess. Let's get started with reading. The any benefit approach to network tool selection. Let me get my So, the any benefit approach to network tool selection. You are justified in using network tool if you can identify any possible benefit to its uses and anything you might possibly miss out on if you don't use it. So, you are justified in using network tools if you can identify any possible benefit to its use or anything you might possibly miss out on if you don't use it. The problem with this approach, of course, is that it ignores all the negatives that comes along with the tools in the question. These services are engineered to be addictive, rubbing time and attention from the activities that more directly supports your professional and personal goods, such as deep work. Eventually, if you use this tool enough, you will arrive at a state of burnout, hyper distracted connectivity that plagued Thompson and the million of other like him. It's very, I don't know how to fix this shit. Like, I have tried many times, but this camera is just not good. Like, I can't just face it. Like, yeah, this is the max it can go. So let's see. My full body is here. So yep. Then the use of network can be harmful if you don't attempt to weigh pros against cons, but instead use any glimpse of some potential benefit as a justification for unrestricted use of network. You're unwittingly crippling your ability to succeed in the world of knowledge work. That's correct. Yep, I have written a small V mark here. That's crazy. This conclusion, if considered objectively, shouldn't be surprised. In the context of network tools, we have become comfortable with the any benefit mindset. But if we instead zoom out and consider this mindset in the broader context of skilled labor, it suddenly seems bizarre and a historical approach to choosing tools. In other words, once you put aside the revolutionary rhetoric surrounding all things using internet, all the things internet, the sense summarized in the part that you are either fully committed to the revolution or literate coming what the crew mood gone, you will soon realize that the network tools are not exceptional. They are tools no different from blacksmith hammer or an artist brush used by skilled laborers to do their job better and occasionally to enhance their leisure. Throughout history, and the skilled laborers have applied the sophistication and skepticism to their encounters with new tools and their decisions about whether to adapt them. There is no reason why knowledge worker cannot do the same when it comes to the internet. The fact that the skilled labors here now involves digital bits doesn't to change this reality, to help understand that what these what these more careful tool caution might look like. It makes sense to start by talking to someone who makes a living work with non-digital work tools and relies on complex non-digital tools and relies on the complex relationship with these tools to succeed. Fortunately for our purpose, I just found the individual in lacking English major turned successful, sustainable farmer named almost to empty Forrest Pritchard. No, Pritchard. No. Forrest runs the Smith Meadows, a family farm located an hour west of DC, one of many farmers clustered in the valley of Blue Ridge Mountains. Soon after taking control of the land from his parents, as I learned, Forrest moved the operation away from the traditional monoculture crops and towards the then novel concept of grass finished meat. The farm bypasses wholesaling. You cannot find Smith Meadows steaks in Whole Food to sell direct to the consumers at the bustling farmers markets in the Washington DC metro area. By all accounts, the farm is thriving in an industry that really rewards small operation. I first encountered Forrest at our local farmers market at Tacoma Park, Maryland, where the Smith Meadows stand does good business. To see Forrest, usually standing a foot taller than most of his subordinates customer, wearing the obligatory faded film of the farm, is to see a craftsman's confidence in his trade. I introduced myself to him because farming is a skill dependent on the careful management of tools, and I managed to understand how a craftsman in a non-digital field approaches these crucial tasks. Haymaking is a good example, he told me, not long into one of our conversation on the topic. It's a subject where I can give you the basic idea without having the gloss over the underlying economics. When Forrest took over Smith Meadows, he explained the farm made its own hay to use as a animal feed during the winter months when grazing is impossible. Haymaking is done with a piece of equipment called a hay baler, a device you pull behind a tractor that compress and blind dried grass into bales. If you raise change, if you raise animals, if you raise animals on the East Coast, there is an obviously reason to own and operate a hay balers. Your animals need hay. Why spend money on buying fed when you have perfectly good grass growing for free in your own soil? If a farmer subscribed to the any benefits approach used by knowledge worker, therefore he would definitely buy a hay baler. But as Forrest explained to me after peremptorily apologizing for a moment of shenanigans, if a farmer actually adopted such a simplistic mindset, I had be counting the days until the for sale sign goes up on the property. Forrest, like most practitioners of his trade, instead deploys a more sophisticated thought process when assessing tools. And after applying this process to the hay baler, Forrest was quick to sell it. Smith Meadows now purchase all the hay it uses. Here's why. Let's start by exploring the cost of making hay. Forrest said first there is an actual cost of fuel and repairs and the shed to keep the balers. You also have to pay the tax on it. There is these directly measurable cost, however, were easy part of his decision. It was instead the opportunity cost that requires more attention. As he elaborated, if I make hay all summer, I cannot be doing something else. For example, I now use the time that instead of rice broilers, chicken meant for eating. These generates positive cash flow because I can sell them, but they also manure which I can then use enhance my soil. Then there is equally subtle issue of assessing the secondary value of a purchased hay. As I guess that's about it. I have one page, so I will just read it. I am also avoiding the compacting soil by driving heavy machinery over my ground all summer long, which means I am also getting more rotation from my land in exchange of my money. When making his final decision on Baylor, Forrest moved past the direct monetary cost, which was essentially as a wash, and instead shifted his attention to the more nuanced issue of the long-term health of his fields. For the reasons described previously, Forrest concluded that the buying in hay results in healthier fields, and as he summarized, soil fertility is my baseline. By this calculation, the baler had to go. Notice the complexity of Forrest tool decision. This complexity underscores an important reality. The notion that identifying some benefit is sufficiently to invest money and attention in a tool near laughable to the people of his trade. Of course, a hay baler offers benefits. Every tool at the farm store has something to offer. At the same time, of course, it offers negatives as well. Forrest expected this decision to be nuanced. He began with a clear baseline in his case that soil health is a fundamental importance to his professional success. Then build off this foundation towards a final call on whether to use particular tool. I propose that if you are a knowledge worker, especially one interested in cultivating a deep work habit, you should treat your tool selection with the same level of care as other skilled worker as such as farmer. Following is my attempt to generalize this assessment. I call it the craftsman approach to tool selection. I named that empathize that tools are ultimately guides to the larger good of one's craft. Thank you for watching. If you are watching this, so let me get to my work. Bye.